It is Saturday, January 7th, and I am currently on my way driving to Owasso to take a look at a 2000 BMW R1200C. This bike was owned by this person's dad, who was the original owner, and he has since passed, and it is now been sitting, she thinks, for about 2 years since she last thought he rode it. From the pictures of it, it is definitely dirty. It needs some work on it. And there is, she said they put in a new battery and it started right up. I have heard that there may be some concerns for me about the gasoline that's in it, the tank condition, any of the filters that have gone through it, the oil that's in it, because I don't know if this guy knew that it was going to sit and he, stabilized the gas and did everything else to it. So I've got concerns. She originally started at $5,000, was on the post. I reached out to her, asked some questions, because initially the post wasn't showing any photos. So I just informed her, hey, could I see some photos of the bike? I don't see anything showing up on Facebook. She said, oh, thanks so much, appreciate it. Sent me the photos. So looking at the photos again, it's dirty was the thing that stood out to me, is that it's just sat for a while in this garage and hasn't moved, which means I also need to check the tires on it. So then I got back to her and I thought about it for a little bit and said, hey, I'm seeing brand new bikes that are being ridden as daily riders for $5,000. So I just can't in good conscience pay you. I'd have to offer you less. I know you're going to find somebody for it because it's a great looking bike. And she said, okay, appreciate it. How much were you thinking? I said, I'm probably closer to $3,000, honestly, for a bike that's sat for 2 years. And the other things I'm seeing in the photos. One of the things I saw in the photos is that there does appear to be some tape possibly covering a ding on the right side of the tank. So I just want to see that in person, because that is going to cost probably about $600 to replace the tank. So she said, yeah, no problem. I get it. And then a couple of days went by and she reached out to me. She's like, hey, would you take $3,500 on the bike? And I said, huh, well, I'll tell you what, let me come look at it and tell you if I think it's worth the $3,500 versus the $3,000. My hunch is that I'm going to offer to be somewhere in between them. My very first reason for looking at this bike at $3,000 is actually that I'm not, it may not be the right bike for me as a bike that I want, but if I can get it $3,000, give it a really good wash, change out all the fluids, get it in good working condition, make it shine, I can probably, make somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500 off of just flipping it. Hold on to it for a couple of months, wait for the weather to warm up when guys are starting to look for bikes to ride and weather gets nicer, and then flip it and make an easy $1,500. So I'm considering that as my backup option. The third option is I fix it, I learn a little bit about putting together, and I just sell it for cost and I chalk it up to experience. Fourth option is possibly even just parting out the pieces, because I've heard from some people that some of these parts are really hard to find. This happens to be a 2000, and that means that it is actually considered the classic version. It has the spoke wheels, it has the orange turn light indicators. I don't know if it has ABS. That was an option at the time, but I can't tell until I take a look at the VIN to find out if this was an ABS option bike or what was on it. So that's what I'm doing today, is to take a look at this. If this is the bike, then I will probably figure out a way to get a U-Haul trailer attached to the van, go pick it up. The other thing I'm not sure about that I have to talk to somebody about is titling here in Oklahoma, because from the pictures, it looks like the bike was titled or has a Arkansas license plate. And so I need to figure out what does that mean for getting title, because I think here in Oklahoma you have to do a notary on your title and bill of sale and stuff. So At least that's what I read online. So I have to go through that process now and figure that out. The idea here is that I want to put together a record of going through the buying process, going through the restoration process, and then eventually going through the either riding for fun or sales process on the bike, because it looks fantastic as far as the style of bike. I know that people in the motorcycle community are very polarized by the BMW Cruiser look from the 2000s. I really like it. I also have family members with great affinity for BMWs. The other really great selling point about this bike is that it's only got 3,500 miles on it. So the dad bought it, was the first and only owner, and he only rode it 3,500 miles. So here we are 23 years later, and it's slightly broken in. So that's the appeal for me. Will it hold up? We'll see. All right. So I'm just leaving the property now, and I probably overpaid. Let me tell you why. So, looked at the bike, was unable to get it started. I noticed two things with the gas tank alone that are going to be some issues. The first is that the latch that you use to pull it up, that's busted. So the gas cap is just flat out busted and broken. And then there is that scuff on the side. I press it and it's soft. So I've got concerns about that there. I'm pretty confident that the gas tank is just a bust and that I'm gonna have to pay somewhere between $500 and $600 for a brand new gas tank. So there's that. Second thing is that
on East 76th Street North for 4 miles.
The second thing is that the more I looked at the wiring, a lot of the rubber that covers the wires is degraded, corroded. All of that's gonna need new sleeving to put on it. I saw flaking aluminum stuff coming off of the wheels. There's just a lot of rust in places. So at 3,000, it doesn't run yet. It needs all the standard fluids replaced and all that stuff. And yeah, it's gonna be a project bike, that's for dang sure. What the plan is right now is I'm gonna call U-Haul, figure out what it takes to get a motorcycle trailer so that I can go tomorrow to meet these people, give them the title, or get the title from them. I did negotiate it down to 3,000. I feel like in the back of my mind I should have really stuck to like 2,800. But it is what it is. I am a bad negotiator and I need to bring somebody else with me to go do these deals. So I'm paying 3,000 for the bike. We did find out that actually the dad was not the original owner. It was purchased by someone out of California, and then he had it trailered over to where they lived in Arkansas. And then when he moved here in 2014, brought the bike with him, and when he passed, was 84 years old and probably didn't ride it within the last 2 to 3, maybe 4 years. So it's just sat there, nothing happening with it, just degrading. 3,000, I feel like I might have overpaid because the wheels were looking in good condition, but man, I bet there's flat spots on them now. We didn't roll the bike. I should have rolled the bike and just seen what we could have come up with. But anyway, this is my first project bike. You always have, on anything you do, you have a university course. This is going to be Bike Project Repair University 101. And I can either pay in time or I can pay in money. Looks like in this one, I might be paying in money to get my education on what it takes to get this bike up and running and get it going.